YouTube, what is going on? Welcome back to another Identity 5 video. In this one, we have a very exciting Season 19 Hunter tier list. We're going to go through the tiers in a minute and what hunters are in each tier. Before we get into the video, if you are new to the channel or haven't already subscribed, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below if you're enjoying the content. Without further ado, though, let's get into the video. So, our 5 tiers for today's tier list are going to be S tier, A+, A, B, and C tier. And we're going to go over the criteria, essentially, for each tier. So C tier are basically pretty much only rank viable hunters, not really used at all in any sort of competitive tournament, especially not over in the very competitive China regions. So, yeah, C tier are only really viable in low to mid tier rank. Once you get to higher tiers, you have a hard time winning with them and not really viable in tournaments. B tier are hunters that are viable later rounds in tournaments, very later rounds, not even sometimes round 3, more like round 4 and 5 in a best of 5 situation, or also somewhat viable in ranked gameplay as well. You see them get used, fairly often in rank as well. The next tier is A tier. These hunters are strong mid to late rounds in tournaments, also very strong in rank. A+ tier can be used pretty much any round in tournament, and also very strong in rank. And S tier are the best hunters in the game that are used consistently used the most often, first round in tournaments, the most often used in rank, the most often second used in second round in tournament, whatever it may be. These are the best characters in the game. We're going to see a lot of hunters right now are actually lower in B and C tier. The majority are in B and C tier. We have a few up in the A+, and S tier. Without further ado, let's get into the first tier, which is C tier. And the first hunter in C tier is Nightmare. Now, I believe I put Nightmare in the worst hunter in the game last tier list, and this is really just the case. Nightmare is very bad. Nightmare is very, very bad. His chase literally gets countered by, you can loop certain, as long as you're in a pretty good looping area, Nightmare gets hard countered by looping. His jump stops him when he, if he could jump, and the jump didn't really stop him for so long after he dashed forward, he could be pretty good maybe. But basically the biggest problem with Nightmare is he literally just gets looped for long periods of times in a lot of specific areas. And map pressure is not too bad, but it's nothing like Wu Chang, because with Wu Chang, when you teleport on someone, you can instantly bell them if they have full presence, or instantly soul siphon them if you have full presence. But the biggest problem is that you can't do that with Nightmare. If you teleport on a survivor, as long as they're near a pallet or near a window or something, they can vault it, throw it down, whatever, to avoid getting teleported on. On top of that, Nightmare's cooldown is really long. It's a 50-second cooldown, I believe, for his crow teleport, whereas Wu Chang's umbrella is only 30. So it's just, the teleport is so slow. Also, without full presence, it takes a long time for him to get that vision on somebody. Once he has full presence, he can do it super fast. He can double jump. That's really, really strong. And he cuts off transition kiting with full presence. But you literally have to be at full presence for Nightmare chase to even be decent. If you don't have full presence as a Nightmare, you're not getting anywhere. So a hunter with not very good chase, no camping abilities either. Your best bet is to maybe cut off a rescuer from a distance and then dash after them, but your dash is so short that it's not going to matter anyways. You teleport back to chair, but you have to actually cut them off from super far if you want to do that. So Nightmare just has early game, his chase is really weak. His camping is really pretty much non-existent. His cipher control is okay, but that's about it. Wu Chang's is better. And because of these things, he is the worst hunter in the game, and he is C tier. Okay, so the next hunter in C tier is Ember. Now, this hunter has also been kind of very weak. I think Ember is the worst hunter in the game somewhere along the way, but the biggest issue with him is that it's very similar. You're going to see this out of a lot of the lower tier C tier hunters, is that Ember's chase is just very weak in the early game. Same with Nightmare. Early game chase is so important. The faster you get survivors down, the more likely you are to win a game. However, with Ember, you have no chase early game. A lot of Embers will bring insolence, they'll bring hunt, they'll bring a lot of things to help them, and they'll bring blink. And they'll have a lot of ways to help them get downs. But the problem is they will just get kited by good survivors. Ember just breaks pallets incredibly slow. Compare it to like Wu Chang, for example. Wu Chang has no chasing abilities really in the early game as well. However, he breaks pallets incredibly fast, whereas Ember breaks them very, very slowly. Now, once Ember has been stunned, he does build up those flames, which he can turn into the phantoms, which you can use to trap in survivors. But any survivor with transition kiting abilities can simply just avoid that. For example, if you try to trap in a priestess, they'll just portal away. You try to trap in a forward, they'll football away. Or a patient, they'll just hook away. So all these characters that you can essentially, that you normally would want to be able to trap in with Hell-Ember with those phantoms, they'll just use their ability to get out of there. Now, a lot of Hell-Embers will... again, carry Blink, so that can help them get the down, but by the time you have your Blink up and you blink them for the first hit, it's usually the first hit, not the second one. The first one, sure, you have your Insolence with Presence to get your puppet, but that's not giving you flames. That's still just giving you a puppet. That's not really too useful until you actually have those flames. So as long as survivors constantly just kite, you pallet spam Hell-Ember. They play pallets incredibly slow. It can be very hard to kill people early game as Hell-Ember. Now, Hell-Ember does have some pretty strong camping abilities. You're forced to go really early as a rescuer against a Hell-Ember, try to bait out those phantoms. Every time they use a phantom, the energy goes down. You can drop your phantom, and you can double hit a mercenary. You can hit them once. The phantom will get the second hit. Or if it's a non-mercenary, sometimes you can just get double hit on them, stuff a rescue that way. So Hell-Ember actually has some pretty good camping abilities because he has those phantoms. He can also give a flame to if you have enough flames, you can give a flame to your puppet. Drop a phantom, and you have basically 3 hunters camping at one time, and that can be incredibly powerful in some situations. But if the problem with giving it to a puppet is a survivor can just tap the puppet, and it goes on a 5-second cooldown where it can't attack anyone. The phantoms are unavoidable, but they also take a second after they spawn in. They take a second or two before they actually will attack you. So you can still get the rescue that way. Hell-Ember does have some pretty good map control as well with those puppets. You can throw them around the map. You can teleport around, but survivors can simply counter it by just taking down the puppet. I mean, you can just wrench the puppet, take it down, and there's not much you can do. So that's the biggest problem with Hell-Ember is his early game chase, and also his map control is counterable by anyone essentially. He does have good camp, but unfortunately, good camp is not enough to cut it in this sort of meta, and that is why he's a C tier hunter. The next hunter in C tier is Percy. Now, Percy did get a buff, I think it was last season, where you can actually move the dungeon, which is it's okay, but it's not, I have played against Percy in some situations where we had 3 survivors up at the exit gate, someone dies in the dungeon, we would normally 3-man, but then Percy just moves the dungeon and you get a tie. So I've had that situation arise a few times, but in reality, it's not too strong of a buff. Percy is still kind of just way down there. Very fun character to play. I've actually been playing a little bit of Percy for fun on some of my friends' accounts, but in reality, he's not very strong at all. And the biggest problem with Percy is he can't chair people. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, oh my god, I can't kite Percy's chase is so good. And yeah, Percy's chase is very strong. He has very, very strong chase. He's built to have strong chase. That's not out of the question. It's just that he can't chair people, which means he's killing people way slower. Bleeding people out takes a lot longer than killing someone on chair. And on top of that, and you can argue, well, Percy bleeds out faster. It's still not. It still doesn't compare. It's still too slow. And on top of that, survivors can literally self-rescue themselves by just self-healing. Normally you couldn't rescue yourself. You'd force one of the rescuers to stop decoding, go for a rescue, and get the save, and that loses decoding time because you're not decoding. No, you don't have to do that against Percy. You can just keep decoding, and the person can just self-heal themselves if they want to. Like, it's that simple, So that's the biggest problem, with Percy is that he just can't chair people, and bleeding out takes so long, and you just get Cypher Rush so hard, and there's just so little you can do as a Percy player. So he does have very good chase. Again, camping doesn't matter with him, and he has pretty good map pressure. You can get around the map quickly with those dashes. You can dash around very fast. That's very strong and all. He also has the charge ability. Once you're past 50 energy, you can break pallets instantly. You can't get stunned. That's also very strong, but again, that's part of chase. That's part of having very strong chase. But even with very strong chase, you're still in a bad position because you can't chair people. And a lot of people have asked me, oh, what do you think if Percy could chair people? Would it make him good? Yeah, he'd be broken if he could chair people because his chase is incredible. But he can't chair people. And that's what makes him very weak, and that's what makes him a C-tier hunter. The next hunter in C tier is Evil Reptilian, Lizard. Now, Lizard has always been really low, and again, the biggest problem with Lizard is his early game chase is very weak. Against any good survivor, if you don't have presence as Lizard, if you don't have your lethal crash, the stomp ability, you're just not downing survivors quickly. And the top Lizards on the server, they all have, not because they're bad hunters, they're very good Lizard players, they just have low win rates because it's so incredibly hard to actually win with Lizard against top survivors. Basically all you have to do is, if you're worried Lizard's going to jump on you, as soon as you see him jump, just camp a pallet. As soon as he jumps, go back through to the other side of the pallet and just wait for him to fall down, swing at the pallet, throw the pallet down, whatever it may be. Lizard just gets looped. He just gets looped. He just gets... he has no abilities to chase. He cuts off transition kiting because he can jump after you. That's it. But he gets tight kited so hard. He gets pallet spammed so hard. And there's just so little you can do as a lizard. Now, some lizards will occasionally bring insolence. It's not as common in NAEU. We usually see up, down, confined space and detention, and they'll bring peepers or something, or maybe teleport. But insolence is sometimes a trait that we'll see brought with lizards simply because you want to unlock that lethal crash ability as soon as possible, because sometimes you'll need it to help yourself with your early game chase. Now, Insolence Blink Lizard may not be a bad strategy. There are better hunters, but it's not a bad strategy at all because it helps you get it down within 60 seconds usually, and you also have very good camping as Lizard. That's the next thing we're going to get into. Lizard has strong camping. He can jump up, he can do the lethal crash as the survivor goes for a save, cancels the rescue animation, you can hit them again before they get the save off. I think. I actually don't know. I know with Gamekeeper you cannot, but with some characters, I'm not actually sure. I'd have to test that. I'll be honest, I don't play Lizard ever, so I wouldn't know. But that's the thing with Lizard is that he has good camping, and you can cut off rescuers from a distance as well. You can hit them from a distance, go to your attack recovery, and jump back to the chair and lethal crash them. That's pretty strong. So, yeah, I mean, that's not bad as Lizard, as you can cut off the rescuer, or you can potentially stuff a save or double hit a mercenary. But again, early game chase is very weak. His map pressure is okay. Once he has full presence, he has a triple jump. He can jump 3 times, so you can catch up to survivors easier. I do think they should buff him where he doesn't necessarily need the energy, or his energy recharge quicker, because he already has weak chase, and you're giving him an energy bar on top of that. That seems very unnecessary, but he's always kind of been like that, so it is what it is. But yeah, with Lizard, very, very weak early game chase. That's what makes him a C tier hunter. Good camp, pretty good map pressure, but overall, very bad chase early game. C tier, evil Reptilian. Next hunter in C tier is Ripper. Now, I know Ripper is a pretty fun character. It's very popular for some people. I like to play Ripper as well in my free for fun, but Ripper is really bad. There's a lot of people who will tell you that Ripper is a really bad character. If you miss, and it's as simple as this, right? If you miss a Foggy Blade as Ripper, then you will probably tie the match if you miss your first Foggy Blade, because then you're not killing anyone. If Ripper doesn't have Foggy, he has literally 0 chase. He has an absolutely atrociously bad hitbox, pretty slow pallet breaking speed, and no speed at all if he does not have presence. He's just slow pallet breaking, terrible hitbox, slow hit. He swings very slowly for the most part. It's just like very, very weak if you don't have your Foggy. So if you go for a Foggy and you miss it, you're getting kited guaranteed the next 20 seconds by any decent survivor. On top of that, if you miss your second Foggy Blade, maybe you can tie. If you miss the third one, you've lost the game. And that because you've already been kited 3 ciphers. Because it's 60 seconds is up and you haven't hit anyone yet. So it's just like, with Ripper, if you don't hit your Foggy Blades, you're not winning the game. You have to hit pretty much every Foggy Blade. If you want to win as Ripper, you have to hit every Foggy Blade. And that's just how it goes. It's just so like you have to do this, and it's just not good as a hunter. So Ripper's chase early game is okay. Once he has presence, his chase is really strong because you're invisible, the survivors can't see you, and he's incredibly fast. But until then, he's going to get kited pretty significantly in the early game as long as survivors can juke the Foggy Blades. Good Rippers will be very patient and hit those, but that's fine. Now his camp is okay. It's hard to stuff a rescue as Ripper because if you Foggy someone, they take a hit, they'll still get the rescue off before you can hit them again, because his hit is so slow. His recovery from his swing is so slow. Even if you hit a Foggy Blade, Ripper can't swing again in time because his swing is so slow that you can't get that second hit. A mercenary could literally eat a Foggy Blade, get the rescue off, and elbow pad away before you can even hit them again. Like, that's literally how bad it is for Ripper. To stuff a rescue as Ripper, you have to cut off a rescue from a distance, Foggy Blade from a distance, and then get a second follow-up hit right after. That's the only way you actually stuff people as Ripper. If they've already gotten all the way up to the chair, you're not stuffing the rescue anymore. And that's the biggest problem with Rippers or not the biggest problem, but one of the problems is his camping is, while it may seem good, it's really not. It's just so easily rescuable. And that's what makes him, that's why he can struggle sometimes. His map pressure is not bad because he's very fast. He can walk around the map quickly once he has that presence, that invisibility. But his early game chase is okay. His camp is mediocre at best, and his map pressure is okay. He's just really just meh. He's just meh with everything, and that's what makes him a C tier hunter. The next hunter in C tier is Clown, Smiley Face. I did have Ripper higher than Clown, but Mayhem convinced me that Clown's better, and I actually kind of agree. I think Clown is a little bit better, but basically, good Clown players are actually kind of hard to beat, and if you have good enough controls, you can be very good at you can be very good at Clown. The biggest problem is just like even with good controls, you're not really tying or winning that much because the biggest problem is just like you can kill someone in 60 seconds if you have good enough controls. You can dash them once and then blink them, get a kill in 60 seconds. But if you're doing that, then you're tying. 60 seconds is enough for a draw. It's not really enough for a win. And as Clown, especially because Clown doesn't really have any camping abilities. His chase early game is not great because his dash is really slow. If you have good enough controls and you have that infinite propeller dash, then that can be pretty strong. But on certain maps as well, Clown is just unplayable. Arms Factory, Clown is unplayable. There's too many windows. There's too many pallets. Unlike Breaking Wheel, Clown gets countered by pallets. If you're playing Clown and you go try to chase someone at Factory on Arms Factory, you can't catch them. They'll just throw down the pallet in Factory and just stand there and wait for you to dash into it. Once you dash into it, they vault the window in Factory, get a speed boost, and they're gone. And you just wasted your infinite dash. And, maps like Sacred Heart Hospital, they go into the Birdcage Raid Hospital, throw it on the pallet, you're not catching them. They go into Shack, throw it on the pallet, you're not catching them. You go into Ruins. There's just the one window at Ruins, you're not catching them. It doesn't matter how good your controls are. You can't mind game someone with that much space between you and where the dash is. It's just like it's not going to work. So that's the biggest problem with Clown is that he literally gets countered by maps. There are maps that literally just counter him simply. It's just that big of a problem. But overall, his chase is pretty good if you have good enough controls. Once he has full presence, his chase is really good. His chase is super fast, and it's hard to avoid. Good Clowns will pretty much hit every dash once they have full presence, but getting there is important. That's why Clowns do bring insolence. Clown's camping can be luck-based, in that if you wait till the rest of you to get to the chair, you can go for a Terror Shock with the dash. If you hit it, great. You can win games because you get a lucky Terror Shock. Wow. Okay, dude, pretty good. But in reality, relying on luck-based characters is not as strong. Now, some Clowns will cut off a rescue from a distance, hit them, go into attack recovery, and try to dash them and hit them before they make it to the chair. That's one strategy you can do with Clown, but you have to actually cut them off from the distance, or it's just simply not going to work. So yeah, that's the biggest thing with Clown. His camping is just okay. His map pressure is good once he has full presence, but unlike Breaking Wheel, with Clown, you have to constantly keep finding infinite propellers, and once you run out of them, then you run out of them, and you can't infinite dash anymore, and you're not getting around quickly. Or Breaking Wheel can just instantly get back in wheel form. So Clown relies on finding those parts. Also, Clown setting up himself in the early game takes a long time. You spawn into the game, you have to walk up to a cipher, pick up all the parts, put on the parts that you want to put on, specifically at least Wild Links and Infinite Propeller, and then you have to dash all the way around the map to actually find the survivor. And if you find them in an area with a strong window or a strong pallet, you're not catching them and you have to leave them. So that's the thing with Clown, is it just takes too long to get going as well, and that's what makes him a C tier hunter. The next hunter in C tier is Wax Artist. Now, Wax Artist, I moved him up a little bit since last time because I have played against some decent Wax Artists, but Wax Artist at best is kind of a tie hunter, but also a loose hunter. Wax Artist just gets kited. Any place where you can just kind of block line of sight is just so hard for Wax Artist. Whether that's maps like Ever Sleeping Town, Chinatown, up in the hotel area that you can loop. Anything with like a lot of Arms Factory, anything with a lot of walls, anything with a lot of breaking line of sight areas is just a hard counter to Wax Artist. So hard to a point where it's just like they can't do anything. They literally cannot do anything, and it's like, Wax Artist is pretty good on Moonlit because it's very open, and that's it. I mean, that is literally it. And I know there's probably some people that say, "Oh, Wax Artist can be good on this." But no, guys, Wax Artist is pretty good on Moonlit, and he's not really good on any other map. It's just there's too many maps where you can easily break line of sight. Good survivors will kite a high tier survivors will kite Wax Artist. There's a reason there is no Wax Artist in mobile queue for top tier. There are 0 Wax Artist players in top tier. He's just not a strong character, at least for on mobile queue. He's just not a strong character. Maybe on PC it's a little bit different because you can aim the wax better. But on mobile, it's impossible to get down good survivors. Now, his chase is, again, really bad because he gets countered by breaking line of sight. He does have, once he has that presence, he can use that wax bomb, which gives an instant 25 on someone, which is pretty good. You can also, you have your hot wax, which you can use to damage someone, which is also not bad. But I mean, other than that, it's not great. His camping's not great. Sometimes you can force a rescue after half if you freeze someone, but it's still just like not that strong. As long as a good rescue will just come in early to make sure they get the save. So he doesn't really have much camping. You can also use hot wax to try to damage someone and hit them, but a lot of the time they're not going to get enough wax on them in time to actually get that, that stuff. So, yeah, so his chase is not great, his camp is not great, he doesn't really have any map pressure. He can shoot wax on a cipher to prevent them from decoding it for a few seconds, which is not bad, but that's not going to be anywhere near enough for map pressure / cipher control to be considered good. So, because of these things, Wax Artist is C tier. The best hunter in C tier, but still C tier nonetheless. Okay, getting into the next tier, which is B tier. The first hunter in B tier is Mad Eyes. Now, Mad Eyes used to be good, but then he was nerfed, and he's always just kind of been suboptimal. All the top Mad Eyes players, and NAEU, and mostly in China and parts of Asia as well, have really just stopped playing Mad Eyes. There is still one hunter, I think his name is Dream, in Hong Kong or China or Japan or something, who still plays Mad Eyes. Pretty much everyone else has stopped playing Mad Eyes. Take Pilly. Pilly is the best Mad Eyes player in NAEU, doesn't play Mad Eyes anymore, I don't think. And it's just because Mad Eyes is just so incredibly weak. It's so easy for survivors to just decode the console and waste the energy. But they can decode the console super quick. They can go through that energy super quick and get them out of the way. And Mad Eyes has nothing to get you with. A lot of Mad Eyes have been playing chase Mad Eyes, where they bring Hunt and Blink and try to kill you like that, but fast pallet breaking speed. But again, good survivors are just going to kite him, and there's just not much he can do. And because of these things, it's just really tough for Mad Eyes. Now, Mad Eyes does actually have very, very incredibly strong camp in that you can block off survivors completely from rescuing by just moving your fences in front of putting your fences in front of the chair, and you block off the rescuer from coming in and making the save. And that's pretty strong. But in reality, actually getting someone down as Mad Eyes is just so hard. Now, a lot of survivors will know how to rescue up Mad Eyes at top tier as well. They'll come in early for the save, bait out fences, wake and waste your energy, sneak in, get the rescue when the Mad Eyes isn't paying attention, and that's it. And forwards can also just stun on chair, or any character that can stun the hunter at all is just going to stun them out of their console animation and just get the rescue. If you don't ban Priestess as Mad Eyes, they're just going to portal through the fences and save. Now, every Mad Eyes really should be banning Priestess, because if they don't, again, they're just going to portal through and make the saves. But yeah, so Mad Eyes has technically good cipher pressure because he can fence off ciphers with those fences. But again, survivors will literally just counter that by going on the console, wasting the energy, getting it out of the way. And he also gets kited in the early game. Very good camp, but gets countered by stunning characters as well. Any stunners will just knock him out of his ability, essentially, and that's what makes Mad Eyes a B tier hunter. The next hunter in B tier is Photographer. Now, I do have to say, Photographer may be a little bit higher depending on your play style. If you play regular Blink Photographer with Trump card, whatever, he's low B tier, he's bad. But there is one Photographer in top tiers that we have played against recently, who starts with brings Trump card, but starts with teleport. And what they do is they'll go around, kill a bunch of people in Photo World, then they'll teleport right before Photo World ends on a cipher, try to find one more person as well, and then kill them, or try to jump scare someone with that teleport or whatever, right? It's Photo World's ending. And that's a pretty good strategy. And then they'll have Blink, and they can use Blink to actually get a kill late game if they need it, to try to secure an extra kill or whatever if they want to switch with their trump card. So that's a pretty good strategy, but still, against a 4-person VC team, it's very hard to play. Also, Photographer gets countered by some characters. He gets countered by... he actually gets countered by Gamekeeper. Gamekeeper can jump out of his shovel and save so fast. Even if he's injured, he can still make the save, and Photo cannot swing in time. He actually has to predict the Gravekeeper getting out of shovel for him to make that rest, for him to get that hit on the Gravekeeper. On top of that, he also can get countered by Seer. Mechanic Cypher Rush as well is very hard. You have to ban Mechanic and Seer, but then you get kited by Priestess or get harassed by Ford. He has a hard time dealing with harassers like Ford as well. So there's just a lot that can go wrong for photographer. Also, psychologists. If you down a psychologist, chair them in photo world, and they die once they self-heal, they instantly heal themselves to full health with their ability. Psychologists can also heal off that weird damage that photographer does in photo world to survivors. Psychologists, of course, will take the damage, but for example, say you have a mercenary that gets hit once in photo world, he's no longer can rescue. Psychologists can just whistle the mercenary and heal it off. Sure, psychologists will take the hit, but it doesn't matter. Mercenary's the one rescuing, not the psychologist. So he kind of just gets countered by a lot of basic characters that get used a lot, and that's what makes him kind of bad. He relies heavily on luck. You have to find a lot of survivors in your first photo world or you're not winning the game. That's very luck-based. Of course, you can say knowing spawns. Knowing spawns is good. It helps. But if you can check around that spawn area, but if you don't see them hiding in a certain area near that spawn, then and you're forced to move on to a new spawn area, then you're not finding them. Again, luck-based. If you find the survivor, do you not? If you do, you're in a great spot. If you don't, you're losing the game. And that's just kind of how it is with photographer. On top of that, his chase is incredibly weak. He relies on damaging survivors in photo world and then hitting them later, which is fine, but in reality, that's still not that good. If you do have regular blink, if you can hit someone and then blink them for a kill, okay, you get the kill. Then what happens when they save? You don't blink anymore, you're getting rebound kited. A good rescuer will rescue the photo image as well, so it's no problem for them. And just like that, you get rebound kited and now you lose the game because photo has no chase. So that's the biggest problem with photo. No chasing abilities at all. The only thing you can do is his card trick, but good survivors can read the card trick, see where he's going, and kind of avoid it. He gets tight kited, he gets transition kited, he gets everything kited, and he has no camping abilities as well. So he, again, relies heavily on finding a lot of people in photo world, making them injured so they can't rescue and they go down in one hit. And if you don't find them in photo world, you're losing the game. And because of these things, Joseph the photographer is unfortunately B tier. Very fun character, but B tier nonetheless. The next character in B tier is Gamekeeper. Gamekeeper is actually very fun, and he actually is hard to kite. Gamekeeper is hard to kite in that his hook hitbox is incredibly large. It kind of will you'll see the hook coming, and then all of a sudden it'll change at a 45-degree angle and somehow hook onto you, and you're like, what the heck? How does that make any sense? And that's Gamekeeper, but he doesn't have any map pressure. He has literally 0 map pressure out of any hunter in the whole game. So he does have those traps, which can help him chase people. He has an incredibly nice hook hitbox, very useful hook hitbox for Gamekeeper players. But besides that, it's just very weak because he has no chase. And he's also a luck-reliant camping hunter. He doesn't really have any camp other than trying to get a terror shock with that hook when the survivor goes for save. And again, we talk about how luck-reliant hunters are not good, because if you're relying on luck, then it's just not even a matter of skill, it's just a matter of luck at that point. It's just not very strong. So yeah, with Gamekeeper, you have good chase with your hooks, with your traps. That's very strong, but his camping is luck reliant, and his cipher pressure is non-existent. So there's not much else to really say about Gamekeeper. If you're playing Gamekeeper, make sure put your traps down in strong kiting areas early on. But besides that, you can also cut off a rescuer from a distance with Gamekeeper, and then you can hit them in attack recovery, cut them off, and then hook them again, pull them back at the stuff. You can also sometimes with Gamekeeper force a rescue after half. Some Gamekeepers will try to hook a survivor, it pulls them back. Once they get pulled to the Gamekeeper with the hook, they for the next second their running speed is slowed down. That can also be very strong to stop a rescue. Gamekeeper also, when he jumps forward from being hooked, he can slow down. He stomps the ground and slows the survivor down, which can be useful as well. But besides that, Gamekeeper, again, pretty good chasing abilities, but luck-reliant camp, no cyber pressure, and that's what makes him a B-tier hunter. The next hunter in B tier is Wu Chang. Now, Wu Chang, a common strategy we've seen come up from Wu Chang players in rank recently is actually blink and insolence. So Wu Chang's biggest issue is that he gets kited early game, and a lot of what people will say is, oh, well, as long as there's 4-person VC, you can't jump scare anyone because they'll always communicate. And yeah, that's true. And you'll just get kited because Wu Chang has bad chase. Well, blink and insolence actually make it so Wu Chang can get pretty quick kills. You can get, even if you don't hit anyone in 60 seconds, Wu Chang will blink you for the first hit, plus you have insolence, so you'll have your ability unlocked, and they'll just immediately bell you or whatever in black form right after, and get the kill just like that. And you can get a 70-second kill as Wu Chang. And that's not bad considering that Wu Chang's map pressure is very strong with his teleport. He can slow down ciphers enough where he can get a draw at that point. Now, if you're also lucky enough to get jump scare hits or some other stuff as well, jump scare hits or free hits at a pallet if you mind game someone well, whatever, then you can push yourself into a winning position. But Wu Chang with blink and insolence is for the most part a very strong tie tying sort of build. Now, the most common builds is you see max pallet breaking speed, insolence, tinnitus, and detention, or you see 1 pallet breaking and then also berserker to help you camp. Wu Chang does have pretty good camp in that if you cut off a rescuer from a distance, you can hit them, then teleport back to chair, prevent a rescue that way. Also, if you're in black form, you hit them from a distance, you have quick attack recovery because black form Wu Chang is very fast attack recovery. Then bell them, go to the, cut them off at or stop them from getting the rescue and get it down that way. Also, white form has the soul siphon ability, which you can use to prevent rescues that way. But any character with rescuing abilities, such as forward with football or Gamekeeper with shovel or mercenary with elbow pads, will be able to avoid that. So that's not always the best. So Wu Chang's chase may be bad early game, but with blink and insolence, that can help. On top of that, he has very good map pressure with those teleports, with those umbrellas. You can jump scare people as well. You can, if you kill someone in the end game, you can kill someone, chair them, teleport to gate, or just kill them and instantly teleport to gate, whatever it may be. If you have insolence and they've already wasted their self-heal, if you build to the left side of the persona web, there's this ability called After Effects, which means that the self-heal limit only goes to 60% instead of 90, I think is what it is. So you can slug people that way and it makes it hard for them to be healed. So Wu Chang has a lot of fun tricks you can do. He has pretty bad chase early game, but fast pallet breaking speed. Very good chase once he has presence up, very good map pressure, and decent camp. One of the best map pressure in the game. You can get around the map quickly. And again, weak chase, that's what makes him not quite as strong, but with insolence and blink, it does help, and that's what makes him a B tier hunter.
Okay, so the next hunter in B tier is Feaster. Now, Feaster is a character that I used to play a lot in the past, but he did receive a nerf a couple seasons back, which, I keep talking about this in a lot of the tier lists, but it was a pretty big nerf. It made it so he's kind of unviable for the most part, considering that he used to be, he actually used to be a pretty strong character. He's still a strong rank hunter, at least here in NAEU, simply because a lot of survivors have trouble dodging tentacles. A lot of ranked survivors. A lot of the pro players will be able to dodge it a lot easier, who are used to playing at a much higher level. But sometimes ranked survivors, Feaster is good in low to mid tiers especially, because a lot of players don't know how to dodge tentacles yet. Even in high tiers, sometimes they can struggle. So you do see some high tier Feasters in rank with very high win rates. However, in tournament, Feasters usually will struggle because he's just kind of weak overall in a tournament setting. It's very easy to kite a Feaster if you know how to kite a Feaster properly. So Feaster's chase is okay. It's strong against survivors who struggle against kiting him, and for some reason in NAEU it's a huge issue. A lot of people don't know how to kite Feaster on the server. All you have to do is simply loop the base of the tentacle, but some people still struggle to do with that. And sometimes the tentacle hitbox is weird. Even if you loop it, it'll still hit you, which is weird. Doesn't really make sense, but sometimes it's happened. It's a little inconsistent with the game, but it is what it is. So Feaster's chase is okay. A lot of Feasters will bring Blink. Some will bring Peepers, but Blink is a lot better because it guarantees, or it helps secure that down within 60 seconds. Feaster's camping is actually pretty strong, because what a lot of people overlook is, yes, even if the survivor makes it to the chair uninjured, if you throw it on the tentacle, there's a 1 second animation where the Feaster can't swing, and that survivor can still get the rescue off in time. However, Feaster has the ability to throw down a tentacle, and it'll point to the location of the closest survivor that's not currently on a rocket chair. So if you chair someone, put someone on the chair, use a tentacle, point to the location of the closest survivor, which is probably the rescuer. You can cut them off from a distance, get a basic hit on them, and then you have a tentacle waiting on chair, and you can throw that tentacle down after your attack recovery is done if they have not already made it to the chair. And you can stuff rescues that way. You can double hit mercenary and stuff like that. On top of that, Feaster's full presence curse mark means he doesn't have a cooldown, because normally the cooldown for throwing down tentacles 4 seconds, I believe. But if you have that curse mark, you can throw them down every half a second, which can be pretty strong as well. So full presence camping with Feaster is very strong. Feaster has a little bit of built-in, kind of auto built-in map pressure, in that when you down a survivor, a tentacle will spawn next to every survivor on the map, and then the survivors decode slower if there's a tentacle next to them. So it kind of takes the survivors a few seconds to take down those tentacles, and you can slow down the decoding progress a little bit that way, technically, but it's not too strong, unfortunately. And yeah, so that's kind of the downside to Feaster, is he doesn't have a whole lot of map pressure. He's also a very slow hunter. And good survivors can kite him, although he does have his basic hitbox is not that big, but his charge attack hitbox is the longest in the game. It's actually longer than white form Wu Chang's. It's not quite as wide, it can be juked easier, but it is longer, so you can hit survivors from farther distances away. So that's pretty cool. So Feaster has pretty good camping, Decent chase, but not a whole lot of cipher control. And because of these things, he kind of lacks some of the things that make up an A plus S tier hunter, which is having cipher control, camping, map pressure. He doesn't really. He's kind of decent at camping, good when strong once he's full presence, okay at chase, and just not too good at cipher control, and that's what makes him a B tier hunter. The next hunter in B tier is Violinist. Now, Violinist is actually very comparable to Feaster. They're very similar. They have sort of similar abilities. Violinist, instead of using tentacles, he uses notes to try to line the survivor. And once he has his presence unlocked, he can throw those notes, which will slow down the survivor, which is pretty useful. Something Feaster doesn't have. Violinist has a slowdown effect. Now, to be fair, Violinist's hitbox is very small in comparison to Feaster's, so the slowdown effect definitely makes up for that. And some Violinist players will actually bring Insolence because Violinist early game chase is not too good. In that it's pretty easy to dodge notes. He has very slow pallet breaking speed as well, so survivors can actually kite Violinist pretty easily for the most part. Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. That's why we don't really see a lot of Violinists in top tiers. There's only about 1 or 2 Violinist players running around in top tiers in NAEU, and they're very uncommon over in the China and Asia servers as well, because his chase is weaker than some of the other hunters in the early game. His camping is alright. Once, even without full presence, you can still stuff rescues if you land those notes. However, you make it all the way up to the chair, Violinist throws a note, you can immediately save and get the save off before they can hit you, which is something to keep in mind because there's a split-second animation as he's dropping the note. On top of that, once he has that full presence, he can push out the note, which is pretty strong. Even if you miss the note, you can push out and hit the survivor and potentially stuff a save, or you can just wait for them to rescue, push out the note, and it'll hit both the rescuer and the person that was rescued, which is pretty good as well. So Violinist has not the best chase, but it's okay. He has pretty good camping, especially once he has full presence, and he actually has a little bit of cipher control. He can throw those notes at the at cipher machines while camping, and if it hits the survivor, they're forced to take off the notes before decoding, or else the decoding will be very slow, or they have to wait for all the notes to go past them before they go back to decoding. So Violinist has, again, similar to Feaster, has a little bit of a built-in sort of cipher control ability, which is not too bad. So not a bad hunter overall. Not great chase, but pretty good camping and kind of decent cipher control for the most part. It's definitely just a tie hunter, and that's what makes him a B tier hunter. The next hunter and final hunter in B tier, and I actually kind of hate to put her here because I actually think she's a little bit stronger than this, but I do have a little bit of a biased opinion because I do play her a lot in rank, and that is Anne, Disciple. Now, Anne used to be kind of A plus tier at some point. She didn't really get any nerfs, but she just kind of fell out of favor as the meta kind of pushed her down on the tier list. A lot of the meta survivors, one of being that meta is like the most commonly played strategies for survivors, is support strategies, whether that's priestess portals, forward stuns, entomologist bees, whatever it may be. Anne struggles against support characters. In that, yes, Anne can use her ability to prevent a forward from harassing, for example, but the biggest problem is she can't really do that if she's chasing a server. She can't do it chasing, only while she's about to pick someone up. If she's chasing someone, for example, let's just say you're chasing a seer and you use your cats on the seer, you cat them, the forward can stun you before you get your jump off, and the seer makes enough distance and gets away, and you just wasted your cat just like that. Or you go for a cat on a survivor, they go through a portal and they can get away with that and avoid getting catted. Or you're going against say you're just even chasing an entomologist, right? And you try to jump, the bees can literally just block you. Entomologist actually counters Anne. Even if you cancel her ability, that means you're not able to stun her because you canceled the cats, which kind of sucks. So yeah, so Anne's chase is against if it's not a prospector and it's not an entomologist, and it's for those two in particular, Anne has good chase. She has solid chase. She has solid camping as well. She can use those cats to stun the rescuer. You can double hit them. A mercenary could potentially stuff a rescue. She also has a little bit of cipher control in that she can throw the cats onto cipher machines, cancel the cats, and prevent the survivor from decoding for a short period of time, which is also not too bad. So she has a little bit of everything, but the problem is she does struggle. She is weak to support characters while chasing, not really while camping, and not really while trying to pick up a survivor on balloons, but while chasing. And that is kind of the biggest downside of a good supporting team with good entomologist support, good batter support, good forward support, whatever it may be, priestess support. She will get kited, and that's what makes her a B tier hunter. So still has good traits, good chase, good chase, good camp, a little bit of cipher control, and this is why she's actually pretty good in rank. because there's not a lot of support being used in ranked. It's mostly in tournament. In tournament, she's not very strong because she gets countered by these support characters. But in rank, she's not too bad of a character, and that's why she's the best character in B tier. Moving on to the next tier, which is A tier. The first hunter in A tier is Naiad. Now, Naiad has kind of hung around A tier for the most part. When she came out, she was actually high A+, almost S tier, but she did get a little bit of a nerf, which I think is reasonable. She also, I think she got a buff and a nerf, right? She got a buff and a nerf at some point, something like that. But yeah, right now she's around A tier, which is perfectly reasonable. She's a pretty good chasing hunter. It's hard to kite a Naiad. I'll be honest. The hunter I struggle against the most is Naiad. She is hard. She can be difficult to chase, difficult to kite, because if you're not a good transition kiting survivor, for example, you don't have a survivor with transition kiting abilities, like for example, Patient, you're probably not kiting her very long, because she can trap off the area you're in, force her to run in the open. She can get a free hit that way, and she'll just blink you right after that and get a free 60-second kill. Now, there are transition kiters that can counter her. For example, Prospector can use the magnets. Patient can use those hooks. There are characters that can counter her, but she does struggle against... other survivors without transition abilities do struggle against her. Now, her camping is not that good. You can water off an area and try to get the survivor to be watered before they get the rescue off and then hit them, and then stuff is safe. She has a very fast hit, so she can terror shock survivors. She's one of the few hunters that can actually get terror shocks on chair like that because of how fast her hit is. While she has that presence, she can dash at survivors to try to get extra trips of water. And then once she has full presence, the water does more percentage-wise, which is pretty strong. So it's not that bad. However, rescuers can just get to the chair instantly and save. For example, Mercenary, Forward. Even Gamekeeper can go and Shovel. Shovel, if you're in Shovel and you get to 100% water, the Shovel will actually take the hit for you, and it'll just knock you out of Shovel and you won't take any damage. So Gamekeeper actually counters Naiad in a way as well. And Gamekeeper's also good at kiting her as well, because if he's forced to go kite in the open, he can just Shovel and take a basic hit that way. So, yeah, so Naiad has pretty good chase. She has decent K1, she has full presence, and she has good mobility. She gets around the map quickly with that, when she's in that, the swimming form or the zoom-in form, the NASCAR form, whatever you want to call it. She's pretty good with those things. So she has good chase, decent K with full presence, and decent cipher control. Not a bad hunter overall. We saw her a little bit used in China and used quite a bit in top tiers in the EU, and that's what makes her an A-tier hunter. Okay. So the next hunter, over here. The next hunter in A-tier is Axeboy. Now, Axeboy has always been just kind of an A-tier hunter. He's never really been B-tier. He's never really been S-tier. I think we had him in S-tier. I think we had him in S-tier at like one point when he got that buff with the purple flames, like way back when. But since then, he did receive a nerf, and also there's just better hunters than him that are more consistent. It's actually kind of exciting because we have seen a little bit of Axeboy be used over in the China servers, and he's used a pretty good amount in top tiers, but Axeboy is typically one of the hunters that, us as survivors like to play against. In the mid to lower tiers, you could play against any type of hunter at all, but once you get to high tiers, it's very, very limited. You pretty much will only see the best hunters in the game. You only see Sculptors and Dream Witches and Breaking Wheels and sometimes Bonbon, Bloody Queen, Geisha, whatever it may be, Naiad, whatever. But with Axeboy, it's typically a hunter we'd actually rather play against, simply because he's a good tie. It's hard to lose against Axeboy. He's a very good tie hunter. A lot of Axeboys will bring blink. They'll try to get a hit on you at some point early on. So Axeboy's chase is not bad. You can go for those flames. Good survivors will be able to dodge them pretty easily. However, even if you dodge the flame, Axeboy still gets an incredibly fast speed boost. Once he gets to his flame, you can get the hit on the survivor pretty easily. That's the one thing that's really good about Axeboy, is he's incredibly fast with all those speed buffs that he gets from his from the Restless Roads, from the fireballs, and that can be pretty good. Because even if the survivor jukes the flame, he still gets a speed boost and probably still gets the hit on them. On top, so that makes his chase pretty good. His camping is also okay. If you have a purple flame on a survivor, it's easier to flame them and then hit them for the stuff on the rescue. However, a lot of rescuers will be smart and they'll take down the tree that's closest that they're closest to near their cipher machine before they go for rescue.
what a lot of rescuers will do is they'll take down the tree till it's like 99% of the way done, then they'll decode, and then when the server goes down, then they'll kill the tree and go for save. And that way they don't get a purple flame, and then all you have to do is dodge one of the regular flames from the tree that's around the chair. And those flames are pretty easy to dodge because they're super slow, just moving around, and you can see them. They're pretty easy to dodge. The purple ones will circle around you, but those ones, the ones from the tree, just kind of hang around, and they're not that good. So Axeboy's camp against rescuers who know what they're doing is not too strong, but you know, sometimes you can get lucky and hit that flame and stuff for rescue. You know, you never know. But yeah, so Axeboy, on top of that, also has a little bit of cipher control in that he can use those paths, the restless roads, to, you know, kind of zoom towards the cipher machine, pressure the survivor off of that cipher, and then go back to chair and keep camping. So Axeboy actually has some cipher pressure abilities as well, which can be pretty strong. So he actually has a little bit of everything. He has pretty good chase, pretty good camp, and pretty good cipher control. They're not too strong in all of them, but they're also not bad. They're just kind of they're good. He's good in kind of each of the categories that make him a good hunter, and he's a really good, strong tie hunter. Again, we've seen used in China to secure ties. Just see blink Axeboys, and yeah, because of these things, Axeboy is an A tier hunter, and you know, solid, the best hunter in A tier. Okay, moving into our last two tiers. The next tier is A plus tier, and the first hunter in A plus tier is Geisha. Now Geisha. Some of you guys didn't agree with me putting Geisha in A plus tier last season, but I promise you guys, Geisha is really good. Geisha is a really strong hunter. In fact, she might even be a little bit higher than I have her, like higher in A plus tier, but I promise you guys, Geisha is very, very strong. In fact, Geisha is one of the most common bans in top tiers in NAEU. We have two bans in top tiers. We ban Bloody Queen and Geisha, because those are the two best rank hunters. Not the two best tournament hunters, but the two best rank hunters. I'll explain Bloody Queen why, but with Geisha, we'll see a lot of blink Geishas, and Geisha is really good for securing ties and wins. It's hard to win against a Geisha as a survivor, especially against a blink Geisha, because what they'll do is all they need to do is get one dash hit on you within first 60 seconds, then the blink cooldown's up, and then they just blink you right after that, and they get a kill that way. They always ban Seer, so there's no options for giving it, you know, stacking extra 3 hits on or anything. And yeah, that's as simple as that. On top of that, Geisha's cooldown for ability is super fast. Yes, you can avoid the dashes, but it's an 8-second cooldown. You get it back so fast, where it's just like you have to kite out so many dashes. It's just so hard to do. So, yeah. So Geisha is an A plus tier hunter. She has good chase, especially with those butterflies. She doesn't really have any camping, but she does have good map pressure that she can zoom around the map with those butterflies. On top of that, if you're in a tie situation against a Geisha, they can push for wins easier than other hunters. If you down a survivor without using the dash of the butterfly, they pop the cipher, you instantly butterfly after them, hit them down, then teleport to the exit gate. You can get a 3-person elimination that way. So Geisha is a good hunter, very good for ties and very good for wins as well. Just very strong overall. We've seen her get used a lot in tournament, and I think, guys, we'll see some Geisha used in the North America European COA qualifiers coming up as well. I would not be surprised, whether that's iAlien or Sprinter or one of the other hunters out there that opts to use her. I think we're going to see it for sure. And yeah, Geisha's a very strong later round hunter in tournaments as well, A plus tier, and a very strong hunter overall. The next hunter in A plus tier is Soul Weaver. Now Weaver is she's very map specific, but she's incredibly powerful on those specific maps. Now I know I did say earlier in the video that map specific hunters typically aren't quite as strong, but she's so strong in the maps that she's good on. It's like broken good. For example, Chinatown. Soul Weaver is incredibly strong in Chinatown. There is so many really strong areas that you can place your webs. The 2-story area that we call Hotel, that a lot of survivors like to loop for long periods of time, she literally counters that. She just spams a bunch of webs, zooms after the survivor, and there's nothing they can do to kite in that area. And if they try to loop it, then they just run into webs and get slowed down, and it's just so hard for them to kite her. So yeah, so she's really good at Chinatown. She's really good in any narrow sort of area maps. For example, Ever Sleeping Town, Red Church, even Leo's Memory, a map that's really bad for hunters. She's pretty good on it as well. So she has maps that she just really can be strong on. Sacred Heart Hospital, even that map. It's hard to loop Hospital against a Soul Weaver when she's zooming after you and dropping webs everywhere. So if you try to loop an area, you just run through the webs and get slowed down. So yeah, so Soul Weaver,
Once she has those webs stacked up, like 70 or more webs, she can kill you super fast. She just drops a bunch of webs, zooms after you, gets a free hit, and then immediately just blinks you right after, gets pretty much an instant kill. But you do have to have those webs built up as Soul Weaver for it to make a difference. Rotation is a huge thing against a lot of hunters, but Soul Weaver doesn't really work that well, because if you try to rotate Soul Weaver, she's gonna, by the time she finds a survivor, sure, it'll take a long time, but she'll have so many webs stacked up, she'll just kill them instantly. And that's why Soul Weaver is pretty strong. She has good chase. She has pretty good camp in that she can web shot a survivor and then, hit them. She can deal an extra damage to them, which makes them weaker in the later game. She doesn't really have any cipher control. That's the biggest problem with her. Is her lack of cipher control. But she has really good chase, pretty good camping, and she can insta kill. She's in one of those insta kill hunters that you can kill someone really, really quickly with just a bunch of webs and a blink, and you're dead. So yeah, because of these things, Soul Weaver is A+ tier, very strong on Chinatown, which is a common tournament map now. Very strong on Ever Sleeping Town, another common tournament map. Also Red Church, another map, a common tournament map for NAEU at least. And yeah, a little bit in China as well, mostly NAEU. And yeah, that's why Soul Weaver is A+ tier, very strong chase, pretty good camp, and a solid A+ tier hunter overall. The next hunter in A+ tier is Bloody Queen. Now, Bloody Queen is the best rank hunter in the game. She's not the best tournament hunter by any means, but she's the best rank hunter. So if this was a rank, this is rank. This is sort of mostly for tournament, also for rank. It has this shows a little bit of both. If this was only for rank specifically, Bloody Queen would be the best S tier hunter in the game. And the reason why Bloody Queen is so good in rank is because a blink Bloody Queen is pretty much a guaranteed tie or win for the hunter. And it's almost impossible for survivors to win against a blink Bloody Queen. Because what happens is Bloody Queen mirrors are incredibly hard to cut out. I'd say Bloody Queen, you just need to hit one of your first two mirrors, and then you just blink the survivor after that for the kill. They always ban Seer. Bloody Queens always ban Seer. Some will also ban Psychologist, so they don't have to deal 3 hits. I personally don't like that. I think it's better to ban something like Mercenary, but or Forward. But yeah, sometimes they will ban Psychologist as well. But Seer in particular, get that owl out of the way. All you have to do is hit one of your first two mirrors, and then blink them for the kill after that, and you've pretty much secured yourself a draw or a win. And that's just how Bloody Queen is, and there's nothing the survivors can really do against it. If you look over in China as well, in the top China tournaments, if survivors need to try to put in a situation where they need to try to get a win, they'll just ban Bloody Queen straight up. Even though Bloody Queen's not even a great tournament hunter, not as good a tournament hunter as some of these S tiers, they'll still ban her just because she's such a strong, incredibly strong, almost guaranteed tie hunter / win hunter for the hunter side. And that's just so hard for survivors to deal with, especially in rank, because survivors, they want to win. They don't really want to tie that much. They don't want to lose. They want to win, and Bloody Queen's pretty much always going to tie or win. You get that kill in 60 seconds pretty much every time, and then you get into an endgame situation where one survivor's already dead. You kill someone without mirror, pop the cipher, immediately mirror them, teleport to the exit gate, get a 3 kill, something like that. Or you can just keep mirroring between last ciphers. You can trade swap to abnormal. You can trade swap to whatever you want in the end game to slow down the ciphers. There's just so many, tricks that Bloody Queen has available. She has the best chase in the game. Once those mirrors, sure, the chase can be a little bit slow just because the mirror cooldown is so long, but once she has those mirrors up, a good Bloody Queen will pretty much never miss mirrors. And there's really nothing you can do to kite it out. There's like a lot of people ask, how do you kite Bloody Queen? You really can't. In the kiting guide video, I did talk a little bit about using speed boost to help out with that, and also 2 stories. That can help, but good Bloody Queens are incredibly hard to kite out mirror images because it's not really meant to be kited. It's a broken chase ability. She doesn't have, the biggest problem with Bloody Queen, she doesn't have any camp, so she has no camping at all. She can't stuff rescues pretty much. Unless maybe she can cut off rescue from a distance and mirror back to chair, but good rescuers will never really let that happen for the most part. On top of that, Bloody Queen does have pretty good cipher control. She can mirror cipher machines to try to force survivors off of ciphers while camping. And she also has good map pressure overall because she can just mirror across the map whenever she wants, switch places of the mirror, and get pretty much anywhere on small maps and get close to certain places on big maps as well. But she does have the best chase in the game. Because of these things, Bloody Queen is an A+ tier hunter. Very strong in tournament and rank. The next hunter in A+ tier is Bon Bon. Now, Bon Bon is also a very strong tie hunter. Not quite as consistent as Bloody Queen, but he is better on certain maps that Bloody Queen Bloody Queen can be used on pretty much every map. That's why she's so strong. But she can sometimes struggle on maps like Ever Sleeping Town and Sacred Heart Hospital. Those two-story areas can be difficult for her to deal with. Whereas Bon has a little bit of an easier time dealing with them because, he's just going to walk out. It's hard to explain, but basically on maps like Sacred Heart Hospital, Bonbons will bring peepers to help them deal with the two-story area. And in Ever Sleeping Town, Bonbon can block off the alleyways with those bombs. So Bonbon's better on the maps that Bloody Queen can sometimes struggle on. Bonbon is a good draw hunter because he has good chase with those bombs. If you hit those chains bombs, then you can get 2 chips with chain bombs and then just blank a survivor for a kill if you're not bringing peepers. And if you have peepers, you can still get a kill pretty quickly as long as you hit your bombs. And Bonbon, the reason why he's a good tyrant is he has the best camp in the game. So even if you kill a survivor in a reasonable amount of time, you're probably getting a tie because the survivors will opt to just not rescue at all. Then you just have to kill someone in the end game and guarantee that draw. And because Bonbon's camp is so strong, it's just like if you go for a save, the way Bonbons essentially win, Bonbons will always tie or lose, but they will win when survivors go for saves. This is why I don't like Bonbon that much in rank, because he's very good in tournament for securing draws. If you get a kill, go camp, and the survivors can't rescue because his camp's too strong. But in rank, a lot of survivors will try to rescue because they want to try to push for wins. And when they go for saves, that's where it falls into Bonbon's favor because they can stuff those rescues with that really strong camping ability. And that's essentially why Bonbon is a good tournament hunter because securing draws in tournaments is very good. So Bonbon has good he doesn't really have any cipher control. That's his biggest weakness. He has 2 of the 3 things that make a hunter good. Now he can throw bombs on cipher machines to slow down cipher progress. You can also throw your remote bomb and then just leave it on a cipher, and if you see it wiggling, you can just pop the remote bomb and chip a survivor. Or sometimes survivors will just be too scared to decode it and wait for it to disappear or go to a new cipher, and that slows down their cipher rush. So that can be pretty strong as well for Bonbon. But for the most part, he has he has strong chase and the best camp in the game, and that's what makes him an A+ tier hunter.
Okay, moving on to the last and final tier, which is S tier. The first character in S tier is Sculptor. Now, this has changed quite a little bit in terms of the S tier. Sculptor's always been in the best hunter in the game for a little while, but she recently did receive that nerf where when you combine those full presence statues, they take 0.2 seconds instead of instantly to target after that survivor with those full presence target statues. So because of that, it actually gives survivors a chance to dodge the statues a lot easier than they were able to do before. And because of this, now Sculptor has been moved down. The biggest strength with Sculptor was the ability to, down survivors really quickly with those full presence statues, being able to snipe survivors from across the map using the chisel and full presence statuing them. And now that they're a lot easier to dodge for survivors, this makes Sculptor a lot weaker. She still does have her really strong chase with those statues. You can statues survivor vaulting a window or out a pallet. You can block off kiting routes with those statues. She still has strong camping in that without full presence, either way, the statues cancel rescue animations, so you can reset the rescue animation and make them try to save again while chipping them, which is pretty strong. However, while you're camping as well with those full presence statues, it's a lot easier for a rescuer to save. Before, saving up full presence Sculptor was difficult because, those target statues were very hard to dodge. But now that they take a full 0.2 seconds and you can actually see them conbinding and move out of the way, it's just so much harder for the Sculptor to stuff rescues even with full presence, which before she could do that fairly easily, and now she's not really able to do that as well anymore. So Sculptor is still definitely S tier. She's still very strong. She still has very strong chase, very strong camping, and very good map pressure with that chisel, but she no longer has that really incredibly powerful full presence ability. It's still there, and it's still strong, and it's still hard to dodge the statues, but it's a lot easier than it was before. And now that really cool ability she had with that full presence is been whittled down to a point where she's now the bottom of S tier instead of the top of S tier. And that's what makes her, and she's still very strong. She still has the 3 attributes that make her a strong hunter: good chase, good camping, good cipher pressure. But now her full presence is a little bit weaker, and now she's at the bottom of S tier. Still S tier, still a strong character, but the bottom character in S tier, which is Sculptor. The next character in S tier is Breaking Wheel. Now, Breaking Wheel is the reason why Breaking Wheel is very strong. He has some of the best 4-kill potential in the entire game. However, the biggest issue with him is 2 things. He gets countered by 3 characters in particular, and he also gets countered by a couple maps, one map in particular, and there's a couple other ones I can struggle on. He can be somewhat map dependent, but he's incredibly strong and can still be played on those maps, just isn't quite as strong. But basically, the three characters that counter him are Forward, Seer, and Mechanic. Mechanic counters him because it's very hard for a Breaking Wheel to deal with a bot, and it's pretty much impossible for Breaking Wheel to win against a good team with a Mechanic. The survivors will always draw or win. A Mechanic can be killed quickly by a Breaking Wheel because she vaults windows so slow, so it's hard to loop those windows to avoid getting spiked. However, it's very hard for Breaking Wheel to deal with a bot because, you know, you want to chase down a character, get out and kill them, then you got to go into wheel form, get out and kill the bot, and that takes a while because, you know, you're getting out of wheel form, there's a cooldown on the wheel form, then you got to go back to chair, and they've already read, whatever it may be. It's hard for a Breaking Wheel to deal with the bot because a lot of hunters can easily just, like, they see a bot, oh, they'll just kill it with their ability, or they'll just hit it or whatever, right? But Breaking Wheel literally has to get out of wheel form, kill it, wait for his wheel form again, cooldown to be up, and then go back in wheel form and keep chasing survivors. So it's not really efficient. Breaking Wheel is a character that likes to make full health survivors one-shot, whereas with the bot, it's already one-shot, so you're really not gaining anything with your ability. It's just sort of like regular chasing a half-health character, which is not that strong. Also, Seer is really strong against Breaking Wheel for a couple of reasons. One, Seer can farm owls very easily off wheel while he's in wheel form. You can, you know, look at the wheel form and farm owls that way. Additionally, Seer can also block an entire 2-spike hit with an owl, basically, right? So Breaking Wheel is a character that likes to make everyone one-shot so they can kill them instantly. But with Seer, if you have an owl, the owl will just absorb an entire hit. The spikes don't matter. It'll take a hit for you, and you make it so it's 2-shot, and that kind of counters Breaking Wheel in a way. That's not something Breaking Wheel wants to have to deal with. So Seer is really strong in those aspects. He can farm owls easily. The owls are very strong against wheel. You can also owl spikes if necessary. You can owl full presence spikes. And yeah, just, again, easy for Seer to farm owls off Breaking Wheel. So Seer is just a really strong character. The last one that's a good counter to Breaking Wheel is Forward. And Forward is really good because Breaking Wheel is very fragile. He struggles against harassing characters. Also Batter as well, and Entomologist, but Forward in particular is very good for harassing against a Breaking Wheel. Now, the reason why Breaking Wheel is still S tier and still very strong is because in tournament, once you get to round 2, you can ban 2 of those 3 characters. If Breaking Wheel is able to ban 2 of those 3 counters, he's still going to be in a very strong position and is going to be, you know, like, it's going to be very hard to deal with as a survivor team. And then round 3 is just incredibly broken because you can ban all 3 of them. Now, the biggest problem with Breaking Wheel, again, is he is a little bit map dependent, just a little bit. He does struggle a little bit on Red Church, and he struggles quite a bit on Arms Factory. But besides that, he's good at pretty much every other map. Lakeside Village can be iffy in some situations, but it's still playable. So it's just because he does get countered by windows. Now, he's not like Clown where he gets countered by pallets. He does not. He destroys pallets. He just shreds over them with the wheel form. But yeah, some windows on certain parts of maps can be difficult for Wheel, and he's forced to change targets sometimes. For example, shack windows on certain maps. The factory area on Arms Factory can be difficult. There's just some situations where Breaking Wheel can't chase people because of those windows. But besides that, he's very good in open maps like Moonlit River Park, Ever Sleeping Town, Chinatown, stuff like that. He's very, very strong. He's a good 4-kill hunter. He has very good chase because he can make survivors one-shot. Once he has his full presence, he can instant kill people with 1 spike, full presence them, snap them if they're half health, whatever it may be. That snap ability is really strong because it prevents the survivor from really being able to rebound kite because you can just get 2 spikes on them and just snap them and kill them. And on top of that, Breaking Wheel has incredible map pressure. He's very fast, gets around the map very quickly, and has some of the best map pressure in the entire game. So that makes him S tier, second best hunter in the game, very, very strong S tier character. The last and final S tier character is Dream Witch. Now, Dream Witch is now the best character in the game. She does, of course, still have, some of you guys may ask why. Well, of course, she still has some of those counters, like Psychologist can be difficult, Seer can be difficult, Priestess can be difficult, Mercenary, but you can ban all these characters. Once you get into a tournament situation, round 1, if you ban Seer, they can take 2 of the counters, for example, a Mercenary and Psychologist or Forward or whatever, and you can just ban another one, ban Priestess or whatever. Like, there's not enough counters to Dream Witch. You would literally have to play, if you want to, guarantee a win against a Dream Witch, you have to play, Barmaid and Doctor or whatever, right? It's never really a guaranteed win against Dream Witch because she's such a spiral hunter. She can make, she can turn the game back into her favor at any point. If you give 1 free hit to the Dream Witch, all of a sudden it can become a win, and the Dream Witch can just spiral that. She can snowball it. Once you start giving damages and free hits to a Dream Witch, it's over. They take over the game. They take over with map control. You get leeches on the board. It's GG's. So Dream Witch is one of those hunters that you cannot make a mistake against, and if you do, you will lose the game. She has good chase in that she can just use double patroller to down a survivor, or she can trap in a survivor with a leech in the main spawn and then patroller them after for the kill. This is where psychologist can be kind of good because you can take 3 hits and you're forced to use 2 patrollers and a trap. But besides that, other characters, since Dream Witch always bans Seer, you don't have to worry about the owl. You can just double patroller or trap someone and go for a patroller, whatever it may be to get it down. She has good chase in that. She can use those abilities. Second thing, she has pretty good camp in that she can cut off the rescuer from a distance with the leech follower, and then have a spawn waiting on chair to double hit them or stuff them. You can also, if you're worried about them getting past you can actually just patroller them. Dream Witch always starts with patroller. Each leech has its own patroller, so you can use one of the leeches to patroller the rescuer, and then while they get stunned by the patroller, you hit them with the leech, and then you still have the spawn waiting on chair as well to double hit or stuff that rescuer. So that's pretty strong. She also has incredible map pressure. She can, she can use that spawn follower to camp the chair while she has a leech of somebody go pressure cipher machines. She has the best pressure out of pretty much any hunter in terms of cipher control and stuff like that, because she can just go around the map with the leeches, push people off of ciphers. If they're at one cipher machine, you can just bring your main spawn to the last cipher, drop it on the cipher, and just leave it there, and then just use the leeches of other survivors to pressure and deal damage. And there's nothing they can do. The survivors are forced to start new cipher machines. If the survivors accidentally 3-cipher themselves, which means they decode all the cipher machines on one side of the map, and they leave all the ciphers on the other, all bunched up together, the Dream Witch can just pressure all 3 of them at once with those leeches and the spawn follower. Survivors will never finish it, and you just win the game as Dream Witch. So, Dream Witch also has trait swaps. You start with Patroller. You can then switch to Blink late game. You can switch to Teleport, Abnormal, whatever it may be. You have so many tools available for you as a Dream Witch, and that's what makes her very, very strong. I promise you guys we will see a lot of Dream Witch in the coming up North America, European qualifiers for KOA, also Southeast Asia and China. All over the world, we're going to see a lot of Dream Witch, especially in KOA. So watch out for that, guys. She is currently the S tier, the best hunter in the game. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope this was helpful. As always, if you have any comments or concerns or anything about the tier list or anything in general, don't forget to let me know in the comment section below. I try to get through and check as many comments as possible. Also, timestamps are in the description, so if you guys need timestamps for each character or whatever, make sure you check the description. It is there. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace out for now, and I'll see you all in the next one.